The lady from Ramsey, Representative Becker Finn.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm not sure if it's going to get handed out in time, but you can add the Red Lake Band of Chippewa Indians to folks who are not in favor of this amendment. So I serve on the Environment Committee with Representative Wagenius, and she told me early on that I will have to say things about 100 times before anyone will hear me. So let me say again that we aren't saying no new pipelines ever. That's not what we're saying. So we can stop with this pipeline versus train argument on this particular amendment. I'm not saying no new pipelines ever. Also wanted to clarify some things. So really early on, I'm sorry, I forget if it was Representative Garofalo or Representative Barr C, but the statement was that this is virtually the exact same route. And that is false. If you look at the map, the route would, starting on our North Dakota border to Clearbrook, would be the same route, but from Clearbrook on is actually a new line, and the intent of Enbridge is to abandon the old line. So this, wouldn't you like a new one instead of this old one in the ground, that's not exactly what's happening. It's not like I'm replacing this phone with a different phone. It's not a direct swap out that we're talking about here. Other things we need to set straight. Treaty land is not the same as reservation boundaries. Treaties are the supreme law of the land. They are agreements between different nations. So it makes no sense to sit here and say, oh, the darn treaties, there's so many of them. They're agreements between nations. Other things we need to clarify. Wild rice doesn't grow in fields. It's a grain that grows on the water. It's a spirit food, monomen, for our people. Regarding the comment about double capacity, or doubling, it's not doubling the size of the pipeline. You are correct. However, it is doubling the capacity of what's currently flowing through the pipeline. This broken system that you talk about, that you're so angry about, this amendment doesn't fix it. This amendment is really, really, really specific. This project only, this Enbridge project, docket number PL9/PPL15137. That is all that this amendment refers to. It doesn't fix this greater problem. Those jobs that were mentioned that didn't happen 6 years ago, 4 years ago, that was a different pipeline project, and they stopped the project because of market demand, not because of permitting. The other comment, I apologize, at one point someone stated, Enbridge doesn't just come in and say we're putting a line in and that's what we're doing, but that's exactly what the language of this amendment says. An applicant may, at its sole discretion, along their preferred route. Also, those pipeline workers that stay in hotels and buy food at the restaurants, those jobs are temporary. Because once the pipeline's built, those jobs are gone. That's the nature of building things. But the risk to damaging our water and the risk to our tourism economy, that's permanent. I believe it was Representative Keel said, accidents do happen. They do. But this isn't an oopsie. We can't undo damage to our waters if and when there would be some kind of oil accident. There would be permanent consequences for our entire state. Finally, I wanted to acknowledge, some of the kind words and, Representative Cornish, maybe we're the only two people here who have harvested wild rice. I'm not sure. Well, a couple more. However, knowing us and being in the same space as us is not respecting us and is not respecting our tribes. You have the letters in front of you. You can choose to ignore those. That is your prerogative. So I do want to acknowledge that we've made some progress because we do exist. We've gotten to that point where we can acknowledge that. But acknowledging our existence and respecting that existence are different things. Miigwech.